That night, after my rival John mistakenly thought I was an omega, I underwent secondary differentiation, transforming from a beta into an omega. Now I carried his child in my womb, constantly intoxicated by his pheromones until I could barely control myself. Yet he kept circling around me daily, frequently yanking open my collar to sniff closer. One sniff won't kill you. Scared? I snapped. Do it then. Who's scared? As he inhaled, warm breath suddenly hit the gland on my nape, his sharp canines pressing against it. His voice turned husky. Baby, you smell divine. Let me bite you. Yeah. No. I screamed awake, staring at the disaster zone of sheets. Not a dream. Last night's events replayed like movie flashbacks. When drinking with John at his place yesterday, his heat cycle arrived early. My alcohol-numbed hands trembled while administering his inhibitor injection. Couldn't tell if it worked. He kept complaining about overheating, stripping his shirt before trying to remove mine. We wrestled when I resisted. Next thing I knew, we were on the bed. The rest blurred, though he'd clearly mistaken me for an omega all night. Wincing, I propped myself up. Seeing John asleep, rage surged. I aimed my foot at his face. Feral mutt. I said no. His lashes fluttered. I hastily withdrew my foot, limping away before he woke. After sleeping through the day, abdominal cramps and weakness plagued me. Cursing John internally, I checked my phone. 17 missed calls from him. Text messages flooded in frowny face. You left? Never drinking that much again. Head's killing me. Why's my inhibitor on the floor? You didn't wait to clean up together? Still bros? Did we fight? My arm's sore as hell. Of course it hurt. He tried carrying me standing up yesterday. I'd pinched his arm repeatedly. Trim your nails. My back's claw-marked. Why aren't you answering? Seemed he remembered nothing. Maybe better this way. Mutual recollection would have been awkward. Growing dizzier, I changed to go buy medicine. Opening my door, I found John mid-knock. He pouted. Did I hurt you last night? My heart dropped. Did he remember? Forcing laughter, I said, let's pretend it never. He cut in. I knew I hit you. How bad was it? You're ignoring me now. Relief flooded me. I slapped his shoulder playfully. When have I ever taken hits? Just slept off the booze. As my sleeve slipped during the gesture, John grabbed my wrist. Why's your arm covered in rashes? Mosquitoes this season? Remembering how he'd bitten everywhere like a rabid dog last night, irritation surged. I smacked the back of his head. Get lost, asshole. The next second, my chin was seized roughly. John furrowed his brows slightly. If you keep cursing, I'll have to wash that mouth of yours properly. His soft thumb brushed across my lips. The adult way. Couldn't speak, so I stomped on his toes instead. Watching him grimace in pain finally eased my frustration. But I sniffed the air. Do you smell something floral? He leaned against the doorframe irritably. Don't smell anything. Was my nose malfunctioning? Ever since encountering John, I detected faint rose notes. My lower abdomen throbbed again. I pushed past him impatiently. Move. I need medicine. Unexpectedly, he dragged me outside. You a doctor now? Know what pills to grab? We're going to the hospital. I initially resisted, then reconsidered. My body had felt off since morning. Maybe a checkup wasn't a bad idea. At the clinic, the physician kept glancing at John before politely ejecting him. Ivy, the doctor adjusted his glasses. Have you been sexually active recently? Heat flooded my face. Once. Last night. The medical report crinkled as he continued. Your tests indicate developing secondary sexual characteristics. Prolonged exposure to alpha pheromones has accelerated your biological transition. I swallowed hard, thunderstruck. To simplify, he concluded mercilessly, you've undergone secondary differentiation. From beta to omega. Lightning might as well have struck me. Those late nights during senior year internships. All those times I'd crashed at John's place. Had our shared bed caused this? And tonight's incident. Does this mean I can detect pheromones now? The doctor nodded. So that rose scent was John's biological signature. Before discharging me, he advised, given your unique situation, remaining near your bonded alpha will stabilize your condition. What? Live with John constantly? I staggered out to find the culprit slouching against the wall. Well, what's the verdict? I'm doomed. His teasing vanished. Whatever it is, we'll follow treatment plans. You'll beat this. It's incurable. He suddenly embraced me, voice cracking. I'll find specialists. You're not dying. Dying? I shoved him off, smacking his head. Who said anything about dying? Rubbing his scalp, he complained. You marched out like a funeral procession, kept muttering about being finished. Clenching my fists, I vowed never to tell this idiot the truth. Let him think I've got a terminal illness. No way I'm relying on his pheromones. Since my internship office neighbored John's place, I practically lived there for convenience. Now, hastily packing essentials, I grabbed clothes and documents while he glowered from the doorway. Why are you moving out? Isn't it convenient living here? I ignored him. Of course I had to move out. Staying together every day might lead to complications. That guy turns into an absolute animal in bed, and I refuse to let what happened between us occur again. John and I grew up as childhood rivals. Our families have been close for generations. From the moment we met, he's always outshone me. Even girls I liked would end up giving me the "you're such a great friend" speech after meeting him. I vowed to surpass him, this lifelong nemesis of mine. If you'd told me 3 days ago I'd end up sleeping with him, I'd have called you insane. But since he doesn't remember what happened, maybe there's still hope to salvage this mess. I grabbed my packed luggage, refusing to even glance his way as I walked out. His unusual silence unsettled me. Normally he'd pull every trick to stop me. But I didn't have energy to dwell on his odd behavior. Life normalized after leaving John's place. Work, home, repeat. Until tonight's overtime shift kept me at the office until 11 p.m. The buses had stopped running and rideshares were scarce. My neck had been burning since morning, headache pulsing behind my eyes. The cramping in my lower abdomen worsened with each step. Maybe I should have listened to the doctor's warnings about hormonal changes. Against all logic, I found myself craving John's scent. After 30 futile minutes trying to book a ride, I took a shortcut through the bar district. Flickering streetlights illuminated couples entwined against brick walls. I kept my head down, quickening my pace. The hand clamped over my mouth came without warning. I was dragged into an alley, a stranger's weight pinning me as his breath hit my ear. Walking around without suppressants. Little Omega, smelling like ripe peaches in this neighborhood. Were you hoping some alpha would claim you? His fingers crept under my shirt. I counted to 3 before kneeing him with all my strength. The kick should have dropped him, but my limbs felt like lead weights. Before I could scramble up, he yanked my hair. Playing hard to get during heat? Don't worry, sweetheart. I'll make it good for. My self-defense training kicked in. Years of trying to outmatch John meant I could hold my own despite the feverish weakness. The man staggered back, then suddenly froze. His face went sheet white as he backed away. I swear I didn't touch. Warm liquid trickled down my thighs. Streetlight glinted on the blood pooling beneath me. The dam broke then. Since that night with John, my world had been unraveling. I hated needing him, yet dialed his number through trembling fingers. John. I choked out when he answered. Come get me? He arrived panting, sweat drenched from running. Relief flooded me as darkness crept in. One hazy thought lingered. Had I even told him where I was? The metallic scent of blood mixed with his cedarwood pheromones as I lost consciousness. When I regained consciousness, I found myself back in the hospital. The same physician from before was conducting my examination. John had gone out to buy me food after I woke up. Soon after, the doctor entered with my chart. Ms. Ivy, your test results show early pregnancy with some bleeding due to fetal instability. Fortunately, we intervened in time to preserve the pregnancy. However, improper care could still lead to miscarriage. Avoid strenuous activities and stay close to the baby's father. His pheromones will help stabilize you. I stared blankly. Every word made sense individually, yet the message felt incomprehensible. Pregnancy? Me? Carrying John's child? I sat frozen long after the doctor left, until the door swung open to reveal John's grinning face holding takeout containers. Eat up. I know you're picky. Ran 2 blocks for this congee. A bitter ache tightened my chest. Should I keep this child? How could I tell him? He sighed when I didn't respond, setting down the food to brush hair from my forehead. Relax. I already know. You know? My head snapped up. Your scent's been screaming it for days. His chuckle held no malice. Should have told me you presented as an omega. Explains why you bolted last month. Relief and disappointment warred within me. He remained oblivious about the pregnancy. This sudden biological upheaval left me unprepared for parenthood or confession. After consulting the doctor, I chose termination, but my hormone levels required John's pheromonal stabilization before any procedure. 2 weeks cohabitation was prescribed for physical preparation and final deliberation. We resumed living together, yet our easy camaraderie had vanished. He cleared the guest room, maintaining careful distance. I resorted to stealing whiffs of his pillow when he worked, smuggling his worn shirts to bed, pathetic yet necessary survival tactics. The charade collapsed one sweltering afternoon when pre-heat symptoms ambushed me. I'd planned to nap in his bed before his evening return, even confirming his schedule. But stale pheromones on fabric only aggravated my feverish cravings. I needed the source. Friction against his duvet brought scant relief until the door creaked open mid-ritual. Mortification petrified me as John's amused baritone drifted over. Marking territory like some needy pup? Panic spiked. He wasn't supposed to return until dinner. Before I could speak, his weight dipped the mattress behind me. Warm breath grazed my nape as he inhaled deeply. God, you smell incredible. Ivy's POV. Exhaustion and the shame of being caught left me no energy to care about the distance between us. I buried my face in the pillow until John's pheromones eventually lulled me to sleep. When I woke hours later in the dead of night, my back pressed against his chest radiated warmth. I shifted slightly before bolting upright. The movement roused John, who lazily propped himself against my shoulder. His sleep-roughened voice tickled my ear. Hungry? His nose brushed my scent gland again. I shoved him away, covering my neck. Stop sniffing me. His smirk widened. One whiff won't kill you. Scared? Who's scared? I snapped. Pride stung. Do it then. But I get to smell yours too. His breathing hitched. Without warning, he tilted his head to expose his nape. Be my guest. The heady rose fragrance overwhelmed my senses. Before realizing it, my lips grazed his scent gland. Mortified, I scrambled off the bed. I'm taking a shower. I fled before things escalated again. John had become insatiable these past days, finding every excuse to touch me. He'd yank my collar open to inhale deeply, pinning me on his lap until I flushed crimson, helpless against his tongue tracing my gland. His pheromones left me addicted. A single day without them plunged me into restless anxiety. When my parents learned about my omega designation, they demanded immediate hospital tests. I showed them my updated gender marker instead of explaining the pregnancy. Mom started arranging family dinners with eligible alphas, culminating in tonight's disastrous blind date. The alpha across the table wiped his hand with a handkerchief after our handshake. Let's be clear. Ivy. Brian lounged like a king holding court. An omega your height with visible muscle tone? Repulsive. A late-blooming ex-beta? Pathetic. No degree. Mediocre family, you should grovel that I'm considering you. His manicured finger jabbed the air. You'll quit whatever trivial job you have. Stay home. Breed me a prime alpha heir. And the punch landed before I could throw my water. John stood shaking with rage, fist still clenched in Brian's collar. You're not fit to lick Ivy's boots. He roared, drawing the entire restaurant's attention. I gaped at this furious stranger. The last time I'd seen John this enraged was in 3rd grade, when he'd pummeled bullies twice his size for scratching my cornea. That scrawny kid shielding me now overlapped with the man ready to dismantle Brian. Pulling John away, I noted his trembling. Not from anger, but raw protectiveness. What are you doing here? I hissed. His glare softened upon meeting my eyes. Saving you from garbage, he muttered, as if it were obvious. After getting into the car, I noticed John remained silent and sullen. My heart constricted with faint pain as I reached to smooth his furrowed brow. Come on, don't be upset, I murmured. He suddenly grabbed my fingertips, pulling me into an embrace where his warm breath ghosted over my neck. I can't stand anyone speaking ill of you, he muttered with unexpected vulnerability that made my pulse thunder so violently I feared he might hear it through our closeness. Before I could recover, his deep voice rumbled again. Who was that man? My throat tightened with inexplicable guilt. A blind date mom set up. My voice dwindled to a whisper. He said nothing, maintaining the embrace until we reached home where he pinned me to the bed, his heated frame pressing insistently against mine. When I squirmed, he growled warningly, "Stay still. Release more pheromones. I'm in a terrible mood. Are you some kind of addict?" I retorted without thinking. To my surprise, he nodded solemnly. "Yes. Addicted to you." This wasn't the John the first knew. Since presenting as Omega, he'd become increasingly clingy. Was this pheromone-driven? Or, "John," I whispered, "do you love me?" Only steady breathing answered. Lifting my head, I found him already asleep with dark circles shadowing his eyes, evidence of prolonged exhaustion. Sighing, I carted fingers through his hair, realizing he'd distracted me from asking how he'd known my restaurant location. 3 days remained until my hospital appointment. Nights became battlegrounds of insomnia and nightmares. Visions of aborted children bleeding at my feet, shifting to John cradling an infant while staring at me with crushing disappointment. The psychological torment killed my appetite, every morsel eventually rejected until I'd lost 3 pounds in days. When John expressed concern, I blamed work stress. Seeing his trusting face, doubt gnawed at me. Was withholding my pregnancy the right choice? Should we discuss it? On the final afternoon before D-Day, cracked, playing hooky from work, I visited John's office at his father's company. Several employees recognized me. "Good afternoon, Mr. Ivy," they greeted. "Is John here?" I asked. They exchanged glances before collectively shaking heads. "Mr. Wilson hasn't come in today." Baffled, I wandered outside where patisserie displays caught my eye. Maybe sweets would soften the blow. The busy shop made me wait at a window seat. Through the glass, I glimpsed a familiar figure, John laughing with a bouquet, cradling woman, even guiding her protectively from passing traffic with tender hands. Her delighted laughter carried through the glass as he whispered something that made her beam. My heart sank instantly. Who was she? John's girlfriend? Was he skipping work to go on a date with someone else? The most pathetic part was that even in this situation, I couldn't even feel jealous. We had no relationship. He'd have his own family and children someday. If he ever learned that the person he considered his best friend was carrying his child, he'd surely be disgusted. I numbly carried the cake takeout box home, mechanically ate every crumb, then rushed to vomit it all in the bathroom. When John returned, I'd already retreated to the guest room. Ever since he caught me sleeping separately last time, he'd either drag me to his bed or sneak into mine after I fell asleep. We'd shared a bed every night this week. Now the sheets felt icy without him. Clutching his sweater stolen from the closet, I drifted into uneasy sleep. Sometime later, my frozen feet found warmth encased in firm hands. I jerked awake to find John kneeling at the foot of the bed, massaging my feet. "Did I wake you?" He smiled, breath visible in the cold room. "Your feet were like ice." Tears pricked my eyes. Why did he keep doing these tender things that made my heart race? When I stayed silent, he switched topics cheerfully. "Did you sneak cake behind my back?" The boxes still on the table. "Thought you couldn't keep anything down." Feeling better? The mention of cake resurrected that afternoon's image. I kicked his hands away and yanked the comforter over my head. "Get out." I knew I shouldn't lash out, but pregnancy hormones made my emotions volcanic. John merely chuckled, crawling under the covers to wrap around me. "Nope. Coming in." Fury erupted. I sat up violently, shoving him off the bed. I said, "Don't touch me. Get out." He clutched his stomach where I'd kicked him, gaze deepening before silently leaving. That hollow expression mirrored my nightmares. I stared at the ceiling until dawn. Morning found John's bedroom eerily quiet. I took a cab to the hospital, wind whipping tears from my eyes as I mentally apologized to the life inside me. When John started bombarding my phone during pre-op, I powered it off completely. A nurse handed me water. "Don't worry," she soothed. "It's quick and safe now. Modern medicine minimizes harm." I gripped the paper cup. They called Ivy sooner than expected. As the nurse led me toward the OR, iron fingers clamped my wrist. John stood wild-eyed behind me, scanning my body and the medical staff. "Are you sick? Why are you here?" The nurse tapped her clipboard. "Mr. Wilson, we're on schedule. Surgery?" John's shout drew stares. Two passing girls' conversation floated over. "Told you he's trash. Gets you pregnant then ghosts you. Won't even pay for the..." John's grip tightened as he dragged me outside. "We're talking. Now." Suddenly we sat in a cafe. Him ordering only water for me. I stared at the table. Words stuck in my throat. John leaned forward, every muscle tense with unasked questions. He was the first to break the silence. "Why didn't you tell me?" His words instantly made tears well up in my eyes. I took a deep breath and looked up at him. "Why should I tell you? What are you to me?" John played with the sugar cube in his hand before dropping it into his coffee. "Was it that night?" he suddenly asked. I froze. "That night?" He remembered. Seeing my confused expression, he chuckled and squeezed next to me, pressing close until his head rested on my shoulder. "Even when wasted, I don't black out completely. Though the details are fuzzy, I remember certain fragments, like someone begging no all night long." He mimicked my breathy moans from that evening. My face burned crimson as I clapped my hand over his mouth. Instead of stopping, he licked my palm. When I tried pulling away, he gripped my wrist firmly. Then I wake up to find the little thief who took advantage of me had fled. His breath tickled my ear. "Meant to punish you for sneaking off after having your way with me, but watching you awkwardly pretend nothing happened was too entertaining." His thumb brushed my mating gland. "Never imagined you'd present as Omega though. Your pheromones." He inhaled deeply, eyes darkening, so potent without suppressants. "Countless times I nearly pinned you against the wall. You really thought I'd let my heat partner move out unscathed? So that's why he'd been so sullen during my move out." John sighed dramatically. "Yet here you are, dense as oak. My affection's been obvious for years. What adult alpha tolerates an unmated omega casually exposing their neck? You've been testing my restraint since presentation. Nearly turned me celibate fighting the urge to bend you over every surface." His palm slid to my lower back. "Now do you understand my feelings?" I never expected John to confess first. Honestly, I never imagined us becoming mates at all. But then, the memory of yesterday's woman resurfaced. I shoved his head away, scooting across the booth. "Stop lying. I saw you with that woman yesterday." He blinked before bursting into laughter loud enough to draw stares. I hastily covered his mouth. "Quiet. God, you're ridiculous." He wiped mirthful tears. "That was my aunt visiting from overseas. Dad asked me to show her around the corporate offices." His smirk returned. Was my Ivy jealous? Realizing my mistake, I face planted onto the table with a groan. His fingers combed through my hair as his voice dropped to that velvet tone that always unraveled me. "Ivy? Sweetheart? Baby?" The last pet name brushed against my ear. I jerked upright only for him to steal a quick kiss. "Love you, baby." 3 words extinguished my anger instantly. Before I could process this, he shifted gears. "Now explain the pregnancy scare and clinic visit." What could I say? That I'd feared raising a fatherless child? That termination seemed kinder than subjecting a child to that reality? I crossed my arms. "First, explain how you knew about my hospital visits. The restaurant incident. That time near my office." He actually flushed, squirming under my glare before muttering, "Might have had security tail you since the night we..." My jaw dropped. "You stalked me?" "Protective surveillance." He corrected hastily. "Needed to ensure my future mate's safety." The argument that followed lasted hours, though truthfully, I'd already forgiven him the moment his nervous confession slipped out. After all, this overbearing alpha had loved me long before I understood what love meant. "I installed a tracker in your watch." I glanced at the wristwatch he'd given me for my 20th birthday. He'd never allowed me to take it off, even punishing me with silent treatments if I forgot to wear it after showers. Over time, I'd grown so accustomed to its weight that my skin felt naked without it. My breath caught. "You mean since..." His lips silenced mine in answer, warm and insistent. When he finally pulled back, His smile held traces of the boy who'd first kissed me behind the school bleachers. Maybe earlier, John confessed, thumb tracing the pulse point beneath my jaw. I started memorizing your routines, when you check your phone, which coffee shop you frequented. If you didn't reply within 20 minutes, I'd imagine you laughing with someone else. His arms tightened around my waist as we sank into the couch. When father threatened to disinherit me for dating a beta, he murmured against my mating gland. I designed 3 escape routes from the city. Had fake IDs made. This tracker, his teeth grazed sensitive skin, was supposed to be temporary. You're insane. I breathed, arching into his touch. The monitor's steady beep pulled me from memories. John's face lay pillowed on my hospital bed, tear tracks glistening on cheeks gone gaunt. My thumb smoothed the crease between his brows, deeper now than when we'd first met. I love you, John. His shoulders shook as he pressed my palm to his lips. Ivy, he choked out. You have no idea how long I've waited to hear that. Moonlight silvered the nursery window when I finally held our daughter. John's arms encircled us both, his relieved exhale stirring the fine hairs at my temple. Across the room, our parents' heated whispers about wedding venues dissolved into laughter. Mommy's little drama queen, I teased as the infant yawned, her rosebud mouth already perfecting a pout. John's answering chuckle vibrated through me, warm and whole. Somewhere between stolen kisses and midnight feedings, the boy who tracked my every move became the man who trusted me to wander, so long as I always came home to his open arms.